Hello, my friends. Thank you for joining us on this live Sunday edition. Be here for the next 2 hours, taking your phone calls and covering the most important news of the last week. Looking forward into the new week that began today. It is the 14th of September, 2008. On this Sunday edition, I'm Alex Jones, your host. We're going to have wide open phones at 877-590-5525, 877-590-5525. Listening to us across the country on the AM and FM dial, global shortwave, the internet, and satellite. If you're listening to the station that we originate from, News Radio 590 KLBJ in Central Texas, 836-0590 is the number to call us. I want to get into the bailout of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac a week ago and exactly what that means to the future of this country. No, I'm not going to be talking about the hurricane. Everyone already knows about that, and thank God it wasn't as bad as it could have been, though it did kill some people and, of course, flood Houston and Galveston. While that's important and a nice grandstanding event for the feds and governors to train us that they're our bosses and that they love us and care about us, and that we should worship government, we're not going to be spending any time on that today. I'm sorry. We're going to be talking about things that affect everyone in this country and worldwide for that matter. Headlines, CNBC, bailouts will push U.S. into depression. Greenspan, this is the worst economy I've ever seen. ABC News. Fannie Freddie, ticking time bomb explodes, public shocked. That's like being shocked by the sun coming up in the morning. Washington Mutual tumbles 30% to 17-year low. Democrats propose gas stamps. That'll just devalue the dollar even faster, and then no matter how many stamps you get, it'll still be too expensive. United Nations wants to take over larger parts of England. That's the London Guardian. Got a lot of 9/11 news here as well, just a few days after the 7th anniversary of that event that's been used to kill our freedoms. I thought Al-Qaeda attacked because they hate our freedom. Why would our government then take so much of our freedom? We know they hate our freedom too. Oh, but who founded Al-Qaeda? I mean, it's in the history books. Oh, wait, who wants our freedom? I guess it's true. Those that wanted our freedom did attack us. Oh, boy. So we'll talk some about that as well. Also, U.S. a step closer to Iran blockade. And there's serious talk by the administration. They're talking out of both sides of their mouth. I don't know what's going to happen. U.S. to invade Iraq any day now is the headline here. Bob Barr's campaign manager praises Bush and the neocons. Boy, the libertarians are really a sad lot, aren't they? That is their leadership hijacked by the neocons. Pretty soon they'll tell us Stalin was a libertarian. Krauthammer's cat is out of the bag. Excellent story from LouRockwell.com. Speaking of a good libertarian, some of the quotes where they just admit the most evil things imaginable were the neocons do about themselves. The Trotskyites. You tell mainline conservatives that, they go, "You're a liar," till you show them that they're actually communist. Also, Homeland Security sets up suspicious checkpoints randomly along roads in the United States, violating the Fourth Amendment. Has nothing to do with stopping terrorists or keeping you safe. In fact, they let illegal aliens go. It's about training the milk cow American people to not have a Fourth Amendment. But I guess Land of the Free, Home of the Brave is about Nazi-style warrantless checkpoints. Also, Sarah Palin links Iraq to 9/11 again, saying they carried out the attacks, basically. Doesn't matter if even the White House admits Iraq had nothing to do with... I mean, even if you believe the official story that Wahhabists out of Saudi Arabia, Sunnis, attacked the United States on 9/11 from caves in Afghanistan, and they knew White House jumbo jet Air Force One codes and NORAD stand-down codes and could superimpose computer blips on the screens of NORAD and the FAA controllers and could make the aircraft stand down, the F-16s, and run drills for the CIA of the exact same targets being attacked at the exact same time. Then Al-Qaeda could order the FBI to stand down and order the hijackers trained in U.S. spy code systems, which they all were. But just, if you believe all that, then still it's admitted that it's a separate group. You see, Saddam wasn't Sunni or Shiite. He was secular and played the groups off against each other and has always been anti-Al-Qaeda because working for the United States, they tried to kill him quite a few times. But, I mean, so what? Hey, you can say he's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer if you want, and the American people will believe it. Kind of like they believe having a $5.5 trillion bailout, which leveraged into the bonds that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac sold, and the trickle-down of that, you are talking about hundreds of trillions of dollars instead of 50-something trillion. Or the official number put out for the public of 5.4, 5.6. There's different ones put out. And we'll be covering some of that for you this evening. In fact, let's just do that right now. We are moving into a bigger office. And I've got to get moved in, get my new TV studio built. We're going to do a show on Dish Network and cable. And I've got to finish building the radio studio. It's very close to being done. And then we've got to do the hiring, another IT person, extra, things like that. And kind of going from really small to just medium size, still pretty small. That's one of the hardest growth curves. So we're busy doing that. But soon I'm going to have interns in the office. So I don't have the staff to do this. And we're going to have them go pull shows I did 9 years ago, 8 years ago. We're going to, because, we've got all these archived on the internet and also on hard drives, but we don't have time. We didn't write down what each show was each day of what I talked about. But 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and in the last 4, every day saying Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac are going to go under. It's a money laundering scam. Here, let's have Catherine Austin Fitts, who was number 2 at HUD for Bill Clinton, on the show, telling you. And here, let's have the former head of the Treasury on to tell you. And just constantly, on every issue, we're right. On every issue, we warn you. But we can't get mainline liberals or mainline conservatives to even admit the Federal Reserve's private. The media tells them that's a conspiracy theory. Doesn't matter if it's in the white pages that it's private in the 12-member Federal Reserve banks. Doesn't matter if it's publicly admitted it's private. The media told them decades ago, crazies talk about the private Federal Reserve bankrupting America. And so they say, you know what? It doesn't exist. It's federal, like Federal Express and FedEx. And no, none of them are federal. And they did a bad thing. They took the dollar. They took our credit as a country. That's all the dollar's backed up with is our ability to pay taxes, and that means our labor. And the private banks bought the defense contractors and the media companies and raw land and mining companies, shipping companies, infrastructure, roads, cities. They're even buying up city government basically now. And but then leaving us with all the debt. And boy, when they finally bring down that stock market, they're going to bring that sucker down to close to zero. And the sucker yuppies are going to go right down to the bottom of the Atlantic, just like people on the Titanic. And they're going to be smiling and worshiping the government and worshiping the media and worshiping the private banks as this country goes right to the bottom of the North Atlantic. Now, we could stop that. We could still turn it around. But they can't. They won't. They don't want to. They've bought into so many lies so many times and bought into so much fraud, and they believe a lie about this country. They believe every fraud and every PR stunt and every piece of disinformation put out by the military-industrial complex, while the military-industrial complex openly bought and paid for with our tax money, but controlled by foreign financial institutions, dismantle this nation, butcher the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and what's left they're transferring over to military private contractor companies to run the police, the prisons, the cameras. America is just going to be fully looted and butchered by these people unless you wake up now that both parties are bought and paid for, that there is a new world order, that we are under attack. We have all the documents, all the proof. We'll cover it when we get back, and your phone calls coming up. Stay with me.